So you might have heard in the news that it seems like Apple's working on a wall-mounted smart display that's going to be the home hub of your HomeKit and home ecosystem when it comes to all your smart home devices. So in this video, let's talk about everything we know so far, whether it's something you should be looking forward to, and if it's something that we even need in our Apple ecosystem. So let's get into it. So let's start off by describing what this smart display is and what it's going to be used for. So what we know so far is that Apple's making kind of this iPad-like wall-mounted display that's going to be the center hub of your HomeKit ecosystem. It's going to be about 2 iPhones side by side, according to Mark Gurman, so about 6 inches in diagonal from a screen size with pretty large bezels, because again, this isn't going to be something that you're holding and bringing with you. It's something that's going to be wall-mounted and going to be used by a lot of people. It's also being reported that this is going to come with a selfie camera or a FaceTime camera to be able to be having FaceTime calls, and I'm sure it'll come with things like center stage to follow you around if you are on those phone calls, and also it should have built-in speakers for those FaceTime calls and for any audio or media you want to play out of it, and will have a built-in rechargeable battery. Because Bloomberg also reported that this is going to come with an abundance of different kind of stations or bases, so this should be somewhat modular, similar to what Google did with their, I think it was the Pixel tablet that could be removed from that speaker base but then used as a tablet. I think it's going to have that same type of essence, but with a huge focus on home security and HomeKit and smart home enablement. Another nice thing that has been reported by Bloomberg is that this is going to be a standalone device. So it's not kind of like an Apple Watch where you need an iPhone to get this thing set up and it doesn't rely on a different piece of the ecosystem in order to run. There will be some features like handoff and being able to run continuity with this device alongside the rest of your ecosystem. So it will be nice to have the iPhone with you or an iPad or something with Mac OS to be able to run this side by side, but it will be a standalone device for anybody that's just purely in the HomeKit ecosystem but has nothing else Apple related. And then when it comes to the software, it's going to have a new custom and proprietary software. It's going to be some sort of combination of standby mode, which came out with iOS 17, as this passive mode to kind of get an alarm clock or get some information at a glance, with some type of controls as well to be a little less distracting, but then also have some sort of complications similar to watchOS because it's going to be running different aspects of the home, and it's going to be more than just HomeKit or the home application. It's going to have other applications built in there like Safari, like the Stocks application, like FaceTime, and a bunch of other Apple native applications. I actually think it's going to have more of an essence to CarPlay, where it is basically an extension of iOS or iPadOS, but a little bit more limited in terms of what it can do and what types of app stores there are and applications that can be downloaded on there. It's going to be basically, if the application that you have on your iPhone has a HomeKit enabled one or this new HomeOS version of it, it'll be automatically pre-installed on this brand new tablet that's going to be used to control your home. But if it doesn't have that, then it won't be available on that HomeOS device. So that's what I think it's going to be more so, like picture big giant applications that are easy to use, easy to jump on, but still useful in those certain situations for those certain use cases. And then in terms of price point, there was a rumor that Apple's working on some sort of robotic arm version of this one, which would be in the thousands of dollars range, but this one is going to be much more affordable and much less cost prohibitive because it aims to kind of compete with the things like the Amazon Echo Show, things that Google is working on from a Google Assistant standpoint. So this should be around the $100 to $250 price point. It'll still be a little bit on the higher end when it comes to that type of competition and what it's competing against, but again, that's what Apple does. It'll probably be built very well, built with Illumina, and it's going to work extremely well with the Apple ecosystem, and I'm sure obviously it's going to be running Apple Intelligence and able to use the new smarter Siri in order to be able to run your house and run certain functions. So I do believe this is going to be AI or Apple Intelligence focused first, and it's going to be more so voice controlled because that's how Apple wants you to use it and how Apple wants you to implement it. And it could be pulled off the wall and be used as a watered down iPad for that matter. Maybe you can use it or give it to your kid. Maybe YouTube will be able to run on it and things like that. But again, the main focus is going to be the center hub for maybe an intercom, for Apple News, for Apple Music, for controlling HomeKit, controlling your smart home devices, controlling your alarm systems, and things of that nature. So I do think Apple's going to put their best foot forward into their home connectivity applications and home connectivity hardware because Apple, again, they have the fewest amount of HomeKit-enabled devices, but they're usually the best ones. And technically you can kind of already do this or have this kind of setup. Our very own Ben Lovejoy wrote a great article of how he used or kind of recycled his own old iPad Air to use it as a wall-mounted HomeKit-enabled smart display. So he does use that iPad as a smart home control panel, and I'll leave that link down below for you guys to check out to see how this can be used and kind of foreshadowing what Apple will be doing moving forward with their new version and their, I guess, dedicated version of this new HomeOS situation. So now, should you be excited for this thing? Is this something that you should get into your Apple ecosystem? I, for one, will more than likely pick one of these up because I am a big advocate of using HomeKit and smart home enabled products. I use the HomeKit app for everything from controlling my lights that you see behind me, to controlling my thermostat, to controlling my alarm system, which I do have by a company called Abode that I've been using for years now at this point. So I do like that Apple's making a dedicated version of this, but my one thing is that I rarely go to these devices physically, right? The reason it is a smart home is because I'm able to control everything from my phone, in the palm of my hands, usually from my pocket. It's very rare that I go to my smart thermostat on the wall and actually interact with it physically, because I just interact with it on my phone. Same thing goes for my home security system, same thing goes for my lights, so I don't know how often I will be going to a dedicated kind of HomeKit tablet on the wall to control all my smart lights, because at that point, I'll just pull my phone out or use my iPad that I have with me to control everything in my home. So Apple's gonna have to really entice me specifically, and maybe people are in this similar use case where they don't need something else to control their home because their hub is already their iPhone, or their hub is already their iPad mini, or their hub is already their macOS computer. So Apple's definitely gonna have to wow me a little bit in terms of what this is used for, or give me some sort of extra value add that maybe my phone can't do that this new device will be able to do in order for me to want to actually purchase this device and use it as a real home hub. Maybe the video intercom system could be something that's going to come into play when you combine it with a smart doorbell, or maybe there's some other applications that are specifically made for this product that could entice us to kind of adopt this new way of using it. But at the end of the day, right now, I like the convenience of not having to physically go to my wall, or physically go to my lamp, or physically go to my security system to turn something on or off or interact with it, because I can just interact with it from the HomeKit application or from the dedicated applications for those pieces of hardware directly on my iPhone or on my iPad. So that's just my 2 cents on it, and let me know with a comment down below what you think about that situation. Is this something that you would want? Do you want a central control panel built by Apple, made for your smart home, made for HomeKit? In theory, I think it's a great idea, but it just remains yet to be seen in practice how often it would be used and if it's going to be worth that $250-ish price point. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. If you did make it to the end of this video, leave a little dolphin down below so I know that you made it to the end of this video. And let me know what you guys think of this. Is it a good price point? What would be the price point to entice you enough? What type of functions and features would you need out of this thing in order to really commit to it? Let me know, I'm always curious to know. But if you guys want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. YouTube thinks you're gonna like this one, and I personally think you're gonna like this one down below. But until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here, everybody. Peace.